This is the 10th video of this series. We are learning JavaScript by examples, and this series is for absolute beginners. So if you are a beginner, you're trying to learn JavaScript, it is highly recommended that you watch all the videos from the website. All the codes are available from the websites, and you can watch all the videos from YouTube channel. So we will learn how to use for loop in this lesson with the help of this simple application. And what it is, you simply type in a number and you click on this button and it creates a timetable for you, and it goes up to 20. And this is true for any number, and you can even use decimal numbers and it will work. So let's learn how to create this application with the help of JavaScript and with the help of for loop. I'll close this. I will find my text editor. I will save this file as timestable.html. Minimize this. This is the web page that we just created. Double click on it. It's a blank document. Change the size of it, and I will also change the size of the text editor so we can see both the text editor and the web browser side by side, and we can see what we're doing. So HTML, and I will remove this in an effort to keep the code to very minimum, and I will work within the body tags. The first thing I'll do, I'll create a div element and a closing div tag, and I will make a copy of it. So Control C and Control V, and within the first element I will create an input element. Type will be number, and instead of name I just want an ID, and I'll call it times. If I save it, refresh it, we have an input box, and in the second div element I will create a button, and on this button I will say generate times table. Save it, refresh it, we have a button. The only problem is that both the elements are way close to each other, so we can give it a style, and an opening style tag and a closing style tag, and I will target all my div elements, and I will say padding 5 pixels. Save it, and now you should have a gap of 5 pixels between these two elements. Now when you type in a number and you click on this button, nothing happens because the button, that is because we have not created any script and we have not associated any action with the button. So on the click of this button I want to create an on click event, and on the click of this button I want to run a function. I will call it times table. So the next thing that we have to do, we have to create this function. So the way you do it, first of all, is script. We need to tell the browser that we have this script, and an opening script tag and a closing script tag. And the way you create a function is the function keyword and the name of this function. Copy and paste it, and then an opening curly bracket and a closing curly bracket, and within these two curly brackets I will create a variable. I will call it num, and the value of this variable will be we'll use this built-in method document.getElement by ID, and we want to capture whatever value has been typed in here with the help of ID of this element, and the ID of this element is times. So I will copy and I'll paste it here, and we want to capture whatever the value has been typed in. So if I type in any number here, that value will be saved in this variable. Now what do we do with this variable? I'll show you in a minute. So I'll create a for loop, and this is how you create a for loop. So we have created a for loop, and we have created a variable, and we have initialized the variable. We have given it a value of 1 to start with. We want to say run this loop until the value of I is either less than or equal to 20, and if that is the case, add 1 to whatever the value of I is. So initial value of I is 1. When the loop runs first time, it checks this condition. It is indeed less than 20. It will add 1 more to the value of I, so that will make it 2. Next time it will run 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Next thing, I want to display some values, and I'll say document, and I have to create another opening and a closing curly bracket. Document.write. I want to display this variable, whatever the value has been typed in. Then I want to concatenate it with a multiplication sign, so double quotation opening and closing one, and I want to display a multiplication sign, and to do that I will use Alt key, and I'll press Alt key and 0 to 1 5 on my keyboard on, and this will only work if you have a numeric keypad, and I have a numeric keypad, so I press Alt and 0 to 1 5, and that will display the multiplication symbol. Next thing, I want to display the value of I, so I will say I, and then I want to display an is equal to symbol, so double quotations and is equal to symbol, and then we will multiply this number, the number that was typed in, by the value of I, and the value of I is changing every single time the loop is running, and the loop will run until the value of I is 20. So I will say plus, and I multiply by num, plus sign, and then a line break. I will save it, refresh it, type in a number and click on the button, and indeed our code is working. Refresh it, type in a different number, click on this button, and you have a different times table. As simple as that. So let me explain it one more time. We have created a very simple application, and this is the whole lot of code that we have. We have created a function by the name of times table, and within that function, first of all, we are capturing the value of this input field, whatever the number that has been typed in. It is captured in this variable called num, and the way we capture the value of an input field, we are using this built-in method get element by id from this document. So document.get element by id, the id of this element of this input field is times, and whatever the value has been typed in we have captured here. Okay, next we are running a for loop. We are creating a variable called I. The initial value of I is 1, and we are telling the loop to run the loop until the value of I is less than or equal to 20, and if that is the case, every time loop runs add 1 to the value of I, so the loop will run 20 times. If I change it to 10, save it, refresh it, type in a number, click on it. Of course the loop ran 10 times, but I would prefer to run it 20 times. Save it, refresh it, and type in a number, and of course the loop is running 20 times now. And then we're simply displaying, with the help of this method document.write, we're displaying the num, the initial value of number that was typed in, and this is the value that we type in 20. Then we want to display this multiplication sign, which is visible here. Then we want to display the value of I. The value of I was 1 to start with, but every time the loop runs, 1 is added to it, so you see 1 through to 20, because the loop is running until the value of I reaches 20. Then we are displaying the is equal to sign, which is here, and then we are simply multiplying this, the value of I, by this variable, and the result is being displayed here. And to display the every time the loop runs, these values are changing, so I have put in a line break so you can see one value after the other. So I hope you learned something today, and I will see you next lesson. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.